It's a funny thing, our internet marketing community, because there's an air of financial hype that just coats everything around us. There is this mistaken belief in our community of financial security that exists through buying information course after course.
In this video, I'll be sharing the scary truth behind guru hype and how Bernie Madoff and Ponzi schemes have taken root in our community. Then we'll dive into how this has caused you to set bad goals. In fact, having been told the wrong thing about setting goals is one of the main reasons you might consistently be unable to reach them, and this has nothing to do with positive thinking or the law of attraction. If you're a strong advocate of positive thinking and the law of attraction, then maybe this video isn't for you. However, if your experience using that stuff has been that of little or no results, then I insist you watch this video and the next and you take notes. Gurus have a way of positioning their products so that your financial security will be taken care of with just this product, which we always know will be incomplete and leads into the next product launch, which also promises to take care of you financially. In fact, they have a way of implying that the product practically does all the work for you and you just sit back and make money. And while you and I know this isn't true, the way they phrase things during a product launch is so alluring and so subtle that we end up believing something along the lines of do nothing and get money. We're consciously aware that you don't get money for nothing, and yet the gurus are able to create a temporary belief in money for nothing. But why is it that they generally don't flat out say you'll have to do nothing, but rather use clever wording and images that make you think you'll have to do nothing but still get paid? Well, this is because the gurus are using one of the most powerful sales tactics there is, and that is implicit reasoning. When you go through a product launch, the gurus choose the wording very carefully so that they don't flat out tell you what they want you to believe. They tell you indirect things that lead you to piece together and make you believe you can do nothing and make money. Now, this is extremely powerful. It's like this. If you were going to buy a car and the salesman came up to you and said, "Hey, this car goes really fast, you should buy it," your defenses will go up and you think to yourself, how do you know it goes fast? Why are you telling me this? You just want the sale. But if you went to the salesman and he's already done his homework on you and knows that you like fast cars, he could motivate you a lot more by using implicit reasoning. Using implicit reasoning, this salesman would say things that don't flat out state that the car drives fast, but implies that it does. He would say things like, you know, this car is one of the top street racing picks because of its enhanced fuel injection. And for a car this size, it's extremely light. By talking this way, he never comes up and challenges you to believe something. He just states facts that make you think, and because you're not stupid, you connect the dots and come up with the conclusion yourself, and that is, this car is light and street racers prefer it, therefore it must be fast. If we come up with the conclusion that the car is fast ourselves, it is way more powerful than just being told that the car is fast. Just like if we find all these proof elements in a launch of people who made money by practically doing nothing, then we end up thinking to ourselves on some level that if we use their product or their system, we can make money by doing nothing too.
Do you see how that's so much more powerful for the gurus to use? Well, that's what product launches are designed to do. Give you tons of indirect proof, stories and examples that lead you to believe that their product is the answer to all of your money worries. I mean, how many testimonials have you seen of some guy coming from nowhere and making a fortune almost overnight? What do you think a story like that implies? Exactly, he got rich overnight with nothing, and so can you.
Are you starting to see how sophisticated they are with these launches, and how all of these things you're learning here stack? Remember the Zeigarnik effect and our biological desire to get new bursts of information? There's still a lot more under the hood, but just knowing this already makes you able to resist them. Dealing with guru overwhelm is extremely frustrating, and most people aren't even aware of the source of their problems. In fact, I think it's time I address something very sinister, and that is the goal choking part of guru overwhelm. This is a nasty side effect of all the hype the gurus throw around, and when you couple hype with the bad goal setting training you get, surprise surprise, you get very bad results. I just talked about implicit reasoning when it comes to making you believe what the gurus want so that you'll buy their product. But it's not like there's always a ton of foresight in what's said from a guru trying to get you to just buy their product. I'm going to drive this home with an example of someone you probably know, Frank Kern.
Now, just a quick disclaimer. I'm not saying that Frank is a bad guy or that his products are bad for what he offers. I'm just using this story as an example that sometimes the gurus don't always think before they say things in their marketing campaign. I'm also using this example because Frank openly talks about this issue.
A while back, Frank Kern had a company called Instant Internet Empires, and Frank was thinking more about what to say to get the sale than actual reality, because he ended up promising that customers would earn $115,000 in earnings by buying his $47.77 product and reselling it. I'll explain how that's a problem in a second, because I want to bring up Bernie Madoff and Ponzi schemes. A Ponzi scheme is where someone keeps getting investment money from people and uses money gotten from these investments to pay people who joined early. This makes it look like the investments are making money, but really the new people coming in are paying for the returns of the people who started early. On the surface, it looks like a legitimate investment, but then eventually the floor collapses. There isn't enough money coming in from the bottom to meet the demands of the top. And the proprietor, who's been skimming off the top the whole time, takes all the money and tries to run. This is what happened to Bernie Madoff, and he almost got away with it, except the recession forced so many people to want their investments back that he didn't have time to get away while his Ponzi scheme collapsed. Now let's jump back to Frank Kern and his instant internet empires. Frank was selling resale rights with master resale rights for a $47.77 product. This means that in order for someone to make $115,000 as promised, they would have to sell 2,400 copies of the product. Thing is, after 3 generations of selling this product, the required population would need to be 13.8 billion people. Impossible. The floor collapses after the first generation, and only the guys at the top get the money while everyone else is screwed. And to be fair, I don't really think this was Frank's intention. I'm pretty sure he was just doing what he likes to do best, and that is marketing. He just didn't break out the calculator this time. But the takeaway message is clear, and it impacts us. There just isn't enough foresight into what's said, and we end up getting left holding the bag of empty promises. Hell, during Jeff Walker's product launch manager training, he was heard to say live that, "Hey, I'm a copywriter, I exaggerate." And while exaggeration isn't a bad thing, it's something that we all do, exaggeration does become a problem when setting expectations for a course. Again, I'm not saying Frank Kern or Jeff Walker are bad. In fact, their products have helped a lot of people, and I've learned a lot from these guys. I'm using these as examples, which I've already publicly admitted to illustrate how things can and do go wrong for people who get false expectations from buying a course, and what it is that causes people to go buy products and never get anywhere. So think about what's happening now. Gurus aren't always thinking about what they're really saying, or they exaggerate and they use implicit reasoning so you convince yourself that buying their product gets you what you want, and you have unrealistic expectations as a result. So you buy a course with the wrong expectations on what's involved, you don't get the results you want, and then you go, this whole internet marketing thing doesn't work. But really, this is just the goal-choking effect of GuruOverwhelm. What makes this matter worse is all the hysteria around the law of attraction, positive thinking, and how to set goals. And this is why your goals are choking you to death. In fact, bad goal setting is the result of these intentional or unintentional Ponzi schemes that come up from marketing promises that aren't based in reality, but rather hype and exaggeration. Motivational courses and the law of attraction state things like, set big goals, focus on the result of that goal, and you will have it. Be positive about it and don't think negative. Oh, and if you think negative, then you'll get negative things. So that's the dogma ingrained in us before going into an internet marketing course. After a launch, we're buzzing with unrealistic expectations. The guru has shown us new exciting information, so our dopamine bursts are making us happy. We're aware of what we've been missing from our business, so the Zeigarnik effect is nagging us to get this last piece of the puzzle. We buy the course, and we start forcing ourselves to think positive and take action. We set a goal and we focus on that goal. We focus and try to stay positive, and then it never happens and we give up. Until the next product launch comes along and the gurus resurrect our motivational levels just enough to buy their next product.
Well, I'm going to set the record straight right now and help you clear this whole goal setting and positive thinking issue. Because if you can get goal setting to work for you, it truly is incredible and will work wonders for you. But the way you've been taught is just plain wrong. And I think that's evident by it not working. So, not to beat an old cliche to death, but as Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity.
Since you've been taught bad goal setting, you're always going to get the same no results. So all the hype the gurus throw around during launches results in the goal-choking aspect of guru overwhelm. However, you're not getting results because of goal setting itself, because goal setting does work, but how you've been taught is just plain wrong, which is what we'll be addressing right now. Let me ask you something. If you set a goal like making $1 million or losing 20 pounds or having a romantic partner, do you have any control over the outcome? The answer is no. And yet, what does the law of attraction and all the other motivational mumbo jumbo out there tell you to do? Focus on the goal or the outcome. But you don't control that. You don't control the fact that you will make $1 million. You don't control the fact that you will lose 20 pounds. You don't control having a romantic partner. But you do control the actions that lead up to having that result. And that distinction will free you from the goal-choking stranglehold you've been under from this guru overwhelm. To illustrate this point, I'll use a sports example. You're on a baseball team, and your coach comes up to you and says, "I want you to hit a home run tonight." So you step up to bat, and one of two things happen. You hit a home run, or you don't. But either way, the coach judges you on the outcome. He's happy if you hit a home run, and disappointed if you miss. But that's because he's a bad coach. And we all have this bad coach inside of us, judging us for whether we met our goal or our expectations. But there's a reason I said he's a bad coach, and that's because he judged you on the outcome, rather than the drivers that create that outcome. If he was a good coach, what he should have done was talk to you in pre-season and prepared you to hit home runs. He should have come to you months ago and said, "I want you to spend 3 hours a night hitting balls." And this good coach now judges you on whether or not you spend 3 hours a night practicing hitting balls, which leads to you being able to hit home runs. Do you see this critical distinction? The bad coach judges us on outcomes alone, aka whether we reach our goal, and yet we have no control over whether we hit the goal or not. So this bad coach sets false expectations and judges you on top of it. And we all know this bad coach because it's always yammering in our ear. But notice how the good coach focuses on something different, the activities that drive results. And then he judges you on whether you spent the time working on those activities that produce those results. He didn't judge you on whether you hit home runs, but rather if you spent time practicing to hit home runs. And it's so easy to see how this parallels your business. It's not about whether or not you're making $5,000 a month in 90 days. That's a goal you have no control over. It's about, are you spending your working time on things that drive traffic or get conversions? So instead of setting a goal like $5,000 a month in 90 days, why not set a goal to spend 8 hours a day for the next 90 days working on driving traffic and getting conversions? Do you see how powerful this distinction is?
The gurus are telling you that it's easy and you'll practically make 75 grand from a week's work your first time out of the gate. And then they use all this implicit reasoning so that you end up actually believing in these crazy results. The gurus feed the bad coach in you, and then this coach, this voice in your head, tells you to make some crazy amount of money in a super short amount of time. And then this voice judges you and says that you're a loser when you don't reach it.
This bad coach is literally choking you by the neck and yelling at you to succeed. And this bad coach inside you only gets meaner and meaner every time you set a new goal and you don't reach it. Which is why you might be finding yourself feeling less and less inspired after every new course you try. Well, it's time to fire that bad coach. And this isn't really going to require any willpower or any motivational rah-rah. We can fire this bad coach by pure logic and replace him with the good coach. We have the good coach and the bad coach with us. It's just a matter of tuning into the one that helps us get results. Hence, we want the good coach. And we fire the bad coach and hire the good one by realizing that we have no control over goals, but the activities that drive the goal. In fact, we're going to use new words for this. From now on, the goal is simply the thing we are striving for, and that's it. But our objective is to do the activities that will result in us reaching that goal. And we only focus on the objective. Hence, we focus on objectives that satisfy a goal. This new way shifts focus on action towards a result and immediately puts the power back in your hands and frees you from the guru overwhelm goal chokehold. By distinguishing between goals and objectives and focusing on completing the actions that lead to the goals we want, we shift instantly to the good coach inside us. And this good coach judges us on whether or not we are doing the work we should be doing to get what we said we wanted. And this is a healthy judgment because it's there to help us improve. Whereas a bad coach was judging us over something we had no control over and didn't help us do anything to get what we wanted. So for internet marketing, a good first goal would be getting to $5,000 a month within 6 months. That's a great goal, and let me take this objective planning to another level. By being specific and not irrational, you can set specific goals and dates, but what you do is work backwards. Break down what $5,000 a month is. How many sales is that? Assume you get a 1% conversion rate. If you have a $50 product, that's 100 sales a month. That's 3 sales a day. With 1% conversion, that's 300 visitors a day. So, do you see how we broke down that intangible goal of just $5,000 into 300 visits a day with a 1% conversion rate? Now we just break that down even more and focus on the activities that drive traffic and increase conversions. For simplicity's sake, let's just say we'd need to spend 4 hours a day on traffic and 1 hour a day on conversions. There are ways to get more traffic, but I'll save that for later because I think you get the idea and how it always breaks down into just traffic and conversions. I'm sure you've already picked up some ways to get traffic, like article marketing and conversions from like some copywriting courses, but I do have something I'll bring up later in this series to address this, so stay tuned for more information. The bottom line, after setting a goal and then creating objectives that lead to that goal, is once you figure out the objectives, i.e. the consistent action to be taken, you focus on taking those actions, not the end result. And by doing it this way, we are constantly thinking, did I spend the time today to drive traffic or get conversions? Which is helpful and productive, as opposed to, do I have $5,000 yet?
Judging ourselves by activities based on our objective is a great way to make progress to a goal and reach it. Judging ourselves by whether or not we have the goal now is a great way to lose all motivation, lose hope, quit with nothing to show for it but a lighter wallet.
In fact, let me illustrate this point with my $4,000 in 1 week example that I shared with you in the last video. And just to be clear, I don't expect you to do this yourself. I had a different level of background experience and opportunities than you do, so just take the meaning behind the story that I share here. My goal was not to make $4,000 a week. That is just what it ended up being. I focused on the activities that would generate money. In fact, I didn't even have a dollar value goal at all. All I wanted to do was make sales, aka conversions. If you remember from the last video, I was laying in bed one night and I decided that the next day I was going to write up a report and sell it. So my only goal was to write up a report. I focused on the activities that would bring me money, not the money itself. I wrote up a simple 10-page document and sold it on the Warrior Forum for $10. It took me about an afternoon to write up the guide, and I remember once it went live on the Warrior Forum, I turned off my computer and went and done something else for a couple of hours. When I returned, I was shocked to see over 20 sales in my inbox. The overall total ended up being just over $4,000 in 1 week. So how did this happen? It wasn't because I said at the start of the week, okay, I want to make $4,000 by the end of this week. It was because I focused on the objectives, aka the activities that would enable me to achieve that. Those activities, of course, were traffic and conversions. For the conversions, I knew that people wanted a quick and easy step-by-step guide on how to make money, so I created a short affiliate marketing report. It's like a 10-page report that I wrote and I sold it for $10 on the Warrior Forum. And for the traffic, well, the Warrior Forum was a great place to get that targeted traffic. Like I said before, making money online really isn't that hard. All you really need to do is focus on traffic and conversions. But can you see how having bad goals can actually blind you from what you really need? If my goal was to make $4,000 in 1 week, I sure as hell wouldn't have just focused on traffic and conversions.
I would have been trying all these crazy out there ideas and most likely buying every course under the sun that promised millions. If someone had told me that all I needed to do was write a 10-page report and sell it for $10, I would have laughed at them. But by simply focusing on the right objectives that fulfilled my goal, I was able to achieve great success in a short amount of time, which ultimately kickstarted my online career.
Let me share with you another story to really drive this point home. You may have heard it. It's a story of a guy who started with a red paperclip, and within a year he had done a series of trades, ultimately ending up with a house. His name is Kyle McDonald, and on July 14, 2005, he went to Vancouver and traded the paperclip for a fish-shaped pen. He then traded the pen the same day for a hand-sculpted doorknob from Seattle, Washington, which he nicknamed Knob T. On July 25, 2005, he travelled to Amherst, Massachusetts with a friend to trade the Knob T for a Coleman camp stove with fuel. On September 24, 2005, he went to San Clemente, California and traded the camp stove for a Honda generator. On November 16, 2005, he made a second and successful attempt after having the generator confiscated by the New York City Fire Department in Queens to trade the generator for an instant party, which was an empty keg, an IOU for filling the keg with the beer of the holder's choice, and a neon Budweiser sign. On December 8, 2005, he traded his instant party to Quebec comedian and radio personality Michael Beretti for a Ski-Doo snowmobile. Within a week of that, he traded the snowmobile for a two-person trip to Yak, British Columbia in February 2006. On or around January 7, 2006, the second person on the trip to Yak traded Kyle a cube van for the privilege. On or about February 22, 2006, he traded the cube van for a recording contract with Metalworks in Toronto. On or about April 11, 2006, he traded the recording contract to Jody Gannett for a year's rent in Phoenix, Arizona. On or about April 26, 2006, he traded the 1 year's rent in Phoenix, Arizona for one afternoon with Alice Cooper. On or about May 26, 2006, he traded the one afternoon with Alice Cooper for a KISS motorized snow globe. On or about June 2, 2006, he traded the KISS motorized snow globe to Corbin Burnson for a role in the film Donna on Demand. On or about July 5, 2006, he traded the movie role for a two-story farmhouse in Kipling, Saskatchewan. Not only is this a really cool story, but it also illustrates our point perfectly about reaching big goals. In fact, he didn't even set out to reach some goal. He didn't sit around one day and say to himself, I want to trade this red paperclip for a house. And if he did, he would have gotten nowhere. That's like sitting at the base of Mount Everest and thinking, how can I get to the top in one step? Instead, he focused on how he can trade for something of higher value. Just like you're going to focus your time working on traffic and conversions. He focused on trading something for his paperclip. Once he had a pen, he focused on what he could trade the pen for. Just like you're focused on getting even just 10 hits a day to your website. And once you get 10 hits a day, you'll focus on getting 50 hits a day. He just went from step to step looking for a way to improve his situation, which actually is a perfect segue into the big underlying philosophy behind goal setting and problems. And the coolest thing about this story is that it shows big changes can happen pretty fast in our life. Not overnight, but a couple of months can make a real difference in your life.
I hope you get that I'm more focused on speaking to you from a results standpoint in this video series, which is also why I want to talk to you about the problems even this amazing new goal and objective system faces. You and I both know that even if we focus on activities that drive our goals, life is going to get in our way. We're going to get distracted and we're going to get thrown off track. But that's okay, because the more you do what I'm about to teach you, the easier and easier this gets. And the more results you're going to see consistently.
Take a deep breath and really listen to what I'm about to say. The goal in life is not to eliminate problems. Nope, you have problems, I have problems, and the more you achieve in life, the more problems you have. The goal in life is to raise the quality of the problems that you have. When I first learned that, my world was rocked. I literally felt a shiver in my spine. What an amazing philosophy to live life by. And you have to agree, it makes perfect sense. Wouldn't you rather have a problem deciding which sports car to buy this month instead of whether or not you can pay for your rent? The difference between what you want and what you have is the problem. Problems are not inherently good or bad. We create the meaning behind the problems because we are the ones who make up what we want. So if we recognize that we're always comparing ourselves to where our ideal life should be, then we can also realize we create our problems and a reason to improve our lives. Problems let us get what we want. You're always going to have problems. That's what makes life exciting. The key is to solve the ones you're dealing with now so you can get to better and better problems and hence a better and better quality of life. So just like our red paperclip trader who got a house after a year of trading, you too want to do that with your website. First, work on activities that drive traffic till you get 100 hits a day. Then work on activities that will increase your conversions to 0.5%. Then work on activities that drive traffic until you get 200 hits a day. Then work on activities that increase your conversions to 0.75%, and so on and so on. And sure, you can work on both activities in a day, but I think you get the point. You want to work on the critical activities that lead to you getting improvements which add up to you having the goal you want. And I can tell you, if you want to make $5,000 a month and then $15,000 a month, you need to be working on just 2 activities: driving traffic and getting it to convert. Now don't freak out on me here. I know there's almost an infinite amount of things that you can do in this area, but I've got something for this and I'll talk to you about that later. For now, stay focused here so we can really clear out all the muck in your head that's been left there from all of these product launches. And also start reflecting on other marketing courses that you've taken and start organizing what you already know into this new paradigm. So let's have a quick recap. We know that we don't control goals, we only control activities that drive the goal. So we set objectives which are a system of actions, and we focus on completing the objectives daily, which will add up to completing the goal. When we go and try to do these activities in the real world, we encounter problems. But the goal in life is not to eliminate problems, it's to raise the quality of problems that we have. So when we encounter problems, just recognize there's a gap between what we have and what we want, and that you just need to focus on taking consistent action again that close the gap, and you will get what you want. But here's another sinister piece to this goal setting problem, and that's the unrealistic expectations. When you set goals, you want to be bold but not irrational. There's so much hype in internet marketing that the goals we end up setting are usually way beyond what we could ever hope to achieve in the time frame we give ourselves. So many new marketers I've talked to have expectations of making $1 million in their first year alone with no track record or no experience. That's like saying in 3 weeks you're going to go from bench pressing 50 pounds to 350 pounds. Good luck with that. But you know what's funny? We often set these goals that seem so sexy because the gurus made it seem that way. Their implicit reasoning and their proof of income stories make us feel like our goal setting isn't out of tune when it's really way out of sync with the real world. But in reality, if we forget the hype of making $1 million, what would really improve your life that you can actually attain in a reasonably short time frame, like 6 months? This is why I said $5,000 a month is an amazing first step. That's just like losing those 20 pounds you wanted. Sure, you may not look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you're 200% more healthy than you were a few months ago. And you're in a great position to get even healthier. And yeah, $5,000 a month might not seem as sexy as $100,000 a month, but with $5,000 a month, you could quit your job and focus on internet marketing full time. You'd even have some spending money to do some things like go on 1 or 2 vacations a year, maybe buy a new car. So don't let the guru hype rot your good judgment. $5,000 a month is sexy because it's something real that you can actually do in a reasonable time frame. $1 million is sexy too, but why even focus on that until we've hit a few milestones along the way? Why try to get up Mount Everest in just 1 step? That's just crazy. So from now on, set goals that are at the next level for you, and then focus on working on the activities that drive that goal into reality. And your objective is to do the series of activities daily that lead up to completing your goal. For example, 4 hours of traffic generation and 1 hour of conversion work a day.
And now you're ready for the final piece to this goal setting puzzle. This is about when you fall off track and how to get back on. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect, and I don't expect you to be perfect. There's going to be times where you're just not doing what you should be, but you need to get back on track. Life is distracting, and that's just part of being alive.
The good news is that you can get back on track, and I'm going to show you how to right now. So you know now that if you want to be making $5,000 a month, then you should be spending hopefully at least 4 hours a day working on driving traffic and 1 hour on increasing conversions. But what about when you're not doing that? What about the times that you're not working and you should be? What about the times that you get distracted and you don't finish what you said you would? Well, this has to do with integrity. Now let's clear up the word integrity. Integrity means doing what you said you would when you would. It has nothing to do with ethics or morals. It simply means, did you honor what you said you would do when you said you would get it done? So getting back on track is just a matter of recognizing you're not doing what you said you would. And then realizing while this isn't a good or a bad thing, it does mean you aren't going to be getting what you want. And so to get what you want, you need to get back on track and do what you said you would. And this is why the law of attraction is misleading, because it makes you believe that positive focus on an outcome leads you to having that outcome. That's not true. And I know you agree with me on that point, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Instead, the way to attract things that you want to you is by promising yourself that you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And as you keep your promises to yourself, you end up creating new things for your life and pulling in new opportunities for you to multiply the benefits from. And so integrity is what allows you to have the power to do whatever it takes to keep your word. In fact, you can prove it to yourself right now. Think of the perfect body you've always wanted, and think of a time where you actually sat down and planned out how you're going to do it. You're going to go to the gym for 4 hours twice a day. You're going to eat fruits and vegetables. You're going to go on walks every morning. And then what happened? You didn't do what you said you would, and now you don't have the body you wanted. It's the same with your business. Every time you said to yourself you were going to complete a business project and never fulfilled on it, you didn't get what you wanted. And that's because a lack of integrity with yourself. The great news is integrity is always there for you to use, but you need to make it stronger. Integrity is just like a muscle. It gets weak when you don't use it. But as you practice keeping your word, your integrity will get stronger and stronger, and you'll really start creating and attracting the things you want in your life. In fact, if we go back to the good coach example, we could even say that this coach is really our integrity check machine. Now, I know a moment ago I said integrity has nothing to do with morality. It still doesn't. So don't confuse the wording I'm using with good coach. Look at it this way. Life is truly what you make it, and you decide what you want. Another way of saying that is what you want is good and what you don't want is bad from your point of view. And we set a goal and then we focus on the activities that drive that goal, then it means we are working on activities to bring something good into our lives. And in that sense, the good coach, the voice inside us, asking and judging on whether or not we did the activities we said we do when we said we would do it is in fact a good thing because it focuses on getting the results we want. And so now I want you to practice flexing your integrity muscle and your new goal-setting ability at the same time. I want you to focus on driving traffic and getting conversions with your work time. And I want the voice in your head to judge you on whether you did the activities or not. Your daily objective is to do 4 hours of traffic work and 1 hour of conversion work. Don't want you to listen to the voice that judges you on not having the goal already, because we learned how to fire that guy a while back.
And again, I need to be crystal clear here. I'm not judging you, and I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong.
And every time you get off track, just acknowledge that's what happened and get back on track from where you are. It's so easy to get back on track when you have integrity because you know that it's not about whether you're a good person or not or whether you're worthy or not. It's just a matter of doing what you said you would. And every time you do, you make your integrity muscle stronger and stronger until you reach a point where your word is so powerful, magic almost seems to happen. This is why some people really do seem to make the law of attraction work, because they have such a strong level of integrity and are able to create what they want in life really, really fast. So here's your assignment. Unsubscribe from all the Guru's lists you're on. Focus on one major project you want for yourself, like making $5,000 a month. Give yourself a realistic time frame, for example, 6 months. Break down the daily activities that will lead up to you having that goal. And if you're unsure about how to do that, stay tuned because I've got something that I'll share with you later on. Once you have those activities mapped out, practice making your integrity stronger. Do the activities you know you need to do and do them when you say you would. If you said you do them 4 hours a day, then do it. And when you see yourself not doing it, just recognize you're off track and get back on. You're not a bad person if you don't do what you said you would. You just won't get what you want. So if you take the morality out of it, then that little voice in your head won't judge you to be a bad person. Instead, since that little voice is going to ask you no matter what, use it to judge you on whether or not you're keeping your word, so that over time you become a person of super high integrity. You become someone who always does what you said you would when you said you'll do it, and you're getting the things you wanted as a result. The great thing about this philosophy is that you should feel your anxiety levels dropping more and more each day. You're not longer focused on external things that you have no control over. Now you're focused on yourself and making your integrity strong. You do what you say you would when you said you would do it. And when you don't, you just recognize it and you get back on track so you can get what you want. And as you work each day, you'll steadily see improvements. This is where you can measure and improve more and more as you do this. So in the same time it took you to get 10 hits a day will now allow you to get 100 hits a day.
Wow, we just covered a major breakthrough that most people never get to in their entire life. And if you're feeling a little lightheaded, that's because you're no longer being choked like you used to be. In fact, now's a great time for you to get clear on what you really want, and then start looking at the activities that you can do that will drive that goal into being.
We've covered a lot so far, and I want to leave you with one last thought. So many people are going through life looking to retire from their job, but the richest people in the world all still have jobs. Warren Buffett is in his 70s and he still works in his job. You want to retire into, not out of. You want to do the work that makes you feel accomplished. I heard a story of a guy who sold his company for $1 billion. So he's lying on the beach the next day. By that same afternoon, he had gone inside and started a new company on his laptop. Beaches are for vacations, not living. And now that you've gotten this distinction on goal setting, you can start retiring into the life you want to live. We've covered a lot, but we're going to cover a lot more in the next video on shiny product syndrome. This is all about how the gurus make new products appear so enticing that you want to buy. And it's also about how we can get distracted by too many opportunities and too much information. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to not get swept away by all the shiny things that are taking you off track from your goals. And by goals, you know I mean the activities that create the goals. I hope you got a lot out of this video, and I'd love to hear what your breakthroughs or aha moments were. So please leave a comment below. I read every single one.
Now I know this new philosophy is pretty deep, but we've actually just started. The next video in this series is going to go a lot deeper, like addressing what really causes action. And it's not what you think, because I'm going to reveal to you something that you've never even considered. So I hope that your world hasn't been too rocked, because honestly, we've just gotten warmed up on the new tools that are going to free you from the cloud of guru overwhelm and let you really create the life of your dreams.